Hello and welcome to another episode of the Franchise Tag Fantasy League show. This is our third week now, and Adam is back with me, our little gambling expert. And this week we've been joined by Tinch, who's another player from the league. So we're going to get all his views and everything this week, plus a bit of, I think there's a topic Adam would like to bring up with the commissioner this week. So Tinch, you've been with the league now, what, maybe 5-6 years now, is it? Is it that long?
Oh, no, I think it's only, this will be my fourth year, I think.
Fourth year, yeah. So you're still fairly new. I think we can tell that you're fairly new by where you finish every year, because you're usually down the bottom, aren't you?
Bit rude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite extra harsh on you. I'm like, we're very, very, very close friends. So I feel like I can be extra harsh to you. So the week just gone, how did it go for you? How was week 3, Tinch? What was your matchup? Let's talk about it.
A bit twitchy bum time for me. Slow start because I had Shank, and I don't think I've ever beaten Shank in the entire my entire time in the league. So I was a bit, I do want to beat him. I think it came to the end of Monday morning, and I'm looking at the matchup, and I needed about 15 points from Zeke to beat him. And then looking at his past record for the past couple of weeks, I wasn't banking on it. I was expecting the L. And I woke up on Tuesday morning with a lovely 24-odd points from him to absolutely win me the game.
Yeah, I think a lot of people tipped Zeke to have a big week this week, a bit of a bounce-back week. And I think it's really assisted you in pushing you over against Shank, who I tipped to be one of the tough ones to beat every week. And you've managed to conquer him.
Well, he always...
There was another big game on this week, and that was myself versus Adam. Let's try and get this out of the way nice and quick. Adam, how did your week go?
Well, I mean, I got 135 points. You got 81. So, it didn't end well for you. I'd just like to say, I spent last week, I was on holiday, and there I was relaxing, only to have you and Byron talking absolute buffoonery, just ridiculous chat about my team. Underwhelmed, apparently, was the overall thing about my team and the draft. Underwhelmed. Second highest score of the week, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was just a bad week for the superstars all round for everyone. So I think it's just a bit of an anomaly. And it just so happened that people were testing out their backup players week 3, and you just so happened to have a few of them. I think that was more of it than the talent on your team.
How very convenient for you that was what happened on the particular week we were playing.
Well, the likes of Nick Chubb, DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Brown, who dropped 3 touchdowns. They didn't step up for me this week. Names that you'd expect to.
Sorry, is Marquise Brown considered a top wide receiver?
Well, he was the number 1 draft pick in the year that he went, wasn't he? So,
There's lots of number 1 draft picks that are rubbish, though, aren't
I do agree with Andrew, because I did have my little weigh-in the group chat as well.
Yeah, you were very vocal in the group chat this week, Mr. Tinchello. I think you were slamming Adam as well, so I think that's such a common theme for this year.
Yeah, well, you've got to kind of welcome him in properly, isn't it? the rookie, if you will.
Yeah, you've got to earn your stripes in this league. You're carrying pads and helmets for the pros.
All I'm saying is that I destroyed you. So that's all anyone needs to know, really, isn't it? So,
I can't give him a bit more than that.
I wanted you back on the show. I thought if I beat you again, you might just pack it in. So let's move on to week 4. Let's see what matchups we've got in there. I think, Tinch, you are playing Dicko. Now, We've said before, Dicko's team was picked by the computer, something that no one is happy about.
No.
How are you feeling about this? You predicted a loss. What are you saying?
Dicko's team's come out quite well, despite being picked by the computer. I don't really know how I feel about it yet. I've had a little look, and, I've got at least 5 players that are questionable going into the week, so I've still not thought about setting my lineup yet, just to see what happens by the end of the week.
Yeah, this seems to be a common thing every week. I've noticed it with my team that a lot of players are questionable, and when you read the write-ups and you try and get some info on it, it is like basically telling you it could be a game-time decision. Does this make it really hard for you when you're looking at the waivers and looking at players you could potentially bring in to replace them?
I mean, yes and no, because I've been fairly lucky. Where none of my actual team have got too injured or anything. I had a couple, I think week one maybe. Not week one. Last week, Russell Gage, one of my starting wide receivers, was injured. But well, I had Antonio Brown on the bench, which was a stupid mistake from myself anyway. So, but I know what you're saying. Compared to previous years, there seems to be a lot more players come up questionable during the week with no information on their little pop-up bit.
Yeah, Adam, have you found that a thing with your team as well, or?
It's weird. I've literally just looking at my team, and there's not a single one in the starting lineup that's questionable. So that hasn't worked out well. But yeah, it is weird. There does seem to be more and more that it's happening. I don't know if it's whether there's an element of COVID involved in it, and that's what's causing people to sort of almost wait to the very end in order to come out and say, yeah, they're okay to play, or what. I don't know, but. I mean, I've got Deontay Johnson, so obviously he missed last week, and he might be out for this week as well. I don't know, but it's like he's got questionable on him. Yeah, it does make it harder though.
Yeah. Well, another thing I've noticed with a lot, like you say, with the COVID thing, a lot of them have just said illness in brackets, and nothing more specific than that. So I don't know if they put questionable because they're getting COVID tests or whatnot, and then they're going to wait and see. I think that might be something.
There has been a lot of injuries this year, and I think people are being a lot more precautious with how much they're using them during training. So I think the experts that are leading us towards whether they're going to be doubtful, questionable, injured, are just basing that on whether they actually how many reps they take in training and things like that. And I think people, especially some of the pros that are getting a bit older, they're letting them sit out. So the analysts themselves are a bit unsure as well. So that's why they've been just chucking the big question mark on them. Have we had any waiver wire targets this week, Tinch? Have you looked at anybody? You picked anybody up?
Not this week, no. I've done my classic, which I do every year. The other week is kind of find up a really good backup because someone got injured with Eli Mitchell, but he hasn't really done a lot for me yet. So I'm just kind of sitting on him. But
yeah, I mean, that was a guy that I think I put in a waiver request for him as well. I thought he'd be a bit more impressive than what he has after his week one performance. So
well, every year, I think 2 years ago, I managed to snag James Conner, so he got me a shitload of points that season. And then last year, I got Mike Davis on the waivers as well, so he was obviously back up to Christian McCaffrey the whole season and got me a shitload there. Seems to almost be a running theme if it works out for me this year.
Well, we'll soon find out, won't we? There's plenty of games to go. Adam, let's talk about your matchup as well. We'll take away the players and things like that. You are playing Freddie this week, aren't you?
I am.
You're playing the big host of the show. You know, you played me last week. You beat me. You've knocked me off. You've now got Fred. You know, Mr. Cocky, Mr. You think he's the best at fantasy football ever. How are you feeling about it?
We're quite closely matched up, but I do feel that he's got. I think a lot's going to depend on Dalvin Cook. A lot will depend whether he plays in the first place, and then if he does play, how much he actually plays.
He's got a matchup against the Browns as well, haven't he? Minnesota.
Yeah. So I think, but when you actually look at Fred's team, it's like his quarterback is against the Rams. He's got his two running backs are against the Browns, the 49ers. His wide receivers are against the Ravens. He's got a tight end against the Ravens as well. You know, so he's up against some tough defenses. Whereas for, I don't know, I've got Jamar Chase against Jacksonville, so here's hoping that he gets quite a lot for me. Ayuk against Seattle. I don't really think the Seattle defense was that great. So, you know, I've got an Eckler against the Raiders, who I think have been decent this year, but at the same time,
I was waiting for you to say something nasty.
They like to give away a lot of points so far this season. So although they've won, they've been giving points away.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time I've ever heard Adam say anything positive about the Raiders
Yeah,
ever.
well,
Whether it's because we've got a Raiders guest on, is that why you're shying away a little bit?
Absolutely,
and the big pirate sign behind him, scared you a little bit.
He's
completely
not
bottled it.
settled into the league properly yet. He's really being nice at all.
No, don't be nice to Tinch. Never be nice to Tinch. He can handle it. He can take it.
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Well,
I'll give it all back.
Well, I hope they lose. I mean, so
Yeah. Well,
I think I heard that OC Yermanura rates the Raiders over the Kansas City Chiefs this year. So, you know,
Right.
I think Bills, Raiders, and someone else he said he thought were better than Kansas City this year. So, you know, they've got a lot to live up to now. Now they've started off so well. So that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the topic I know Adam's been dying to talk about. We briefly mentioned it with people we've looked at claiming off the wires. I think Adam tried to claim someone off the waiver wire this week and failed miserably, and it's upset him a lot. So let me know what's your beef.
So the first thing I'd say is that I've never actually done redraft. This is the first time I've ever done redraft. So all the leagues that I've done have been dynasty. So this is a little bit different for me. So I don't necessarily understand all the things when it comes to the
the excuses.
yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to why was I 12th out of 14? Explain it to me.
So every year at the AGM, this topic gets brought up, waiver wire priority. So there's two choices you get on this app for waiver wire priority. The first choice is after you claim, you move to the bottom of the list. So if you don't claim for anyone or don't try and get anyone, you stay at the top. But as soon as you pick, you move to the bottom. And it's done that way.
Right.
The other way you can do it is every week it resets to the order of the league. The weakest team gets waiver wire priority every week. Now, Nathan, every year is like, can't they do it? So you get everybody gets a turn at being first. So one, the order just changes one every single time. I said, well, that doesn't really work anyway, because if you're week one and you don't choose anyone, you're then last for the rest of the season. But it's a tough one. Like I say, if you put in a claim and you don't get it, I think it counts towards you claiming, and then you move to the bottom. Because
that's no good.
I don't think you've actually picked anybody up off the waivers, have you, Adam?
Yeah, one. I picked up Henry Ruggs.
Okay, was that week 2?
That was last week, wasn't it?
Week 3?
Yeah.
So after you pick him, you will then move to the bottom of the pack. And people like my dad and I think Matt Wags, I don't think they've made any claims yet whatsoever. So they're always going to stay higher than you until they make a claim. So,
but how's that fair? See, this is my point. Right? So, no, you're wrong. So what I'm used to is having a budget. So everyone has a budget, and you can spend that how you want. And the person who has the highest bid on that player gets the player. Now, if you've then thrown all your money away on one player early in the season and then one comes up, that's your fault. But you've actually decided to do that. Whereas for this way, this is just complete. It's random.
Well, it's not random, but I think what you're saying is when you're used to dynasty leagues, waiver wire targets, your team's a lot bigger, and waiver wire targets and waiver wire changes aren't that common, are they? You're not doing them every single week. Whereas like redraft and the types of league we've got, you'll maybe make 3 or 4 changes a week. If you're not happy with your bench, you just drop them and pick new people up, and they might be back there again the following week. You don't keep hold of players. So I think if you had a budget, you'd lose it all within 3 weeks, and then no one would have anyone.
And then Fred would get really upset because he's the waiver wire king.
Okay, but
Sam Darnold.
To me, I just feel like if you had a budget, then at least it would be through, the people that you pick, it would be like your own choosing. You decided to spend the budget, your money on that player for a certain amount. So therefore, you've chosen to do it. Whereas for this one, it's almost like I've I can't get the player that I want just purely because someone else hasn't picked up another player.
Yeah, I mean, that's, if you're picking people every week, you're going to move to the bottom. The people that have saved their waiver wire pick, why shouldn't they be higher on the priority list?
Them be the rules.
Yeah.
Learn all you like, but them be the rules.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been helpful if the commissioner told me that at the beginning of the season, I suppose.
I mean,
but,
the rules are there to read yourself.
Oh,
I can't hold your hand. You came into this league with I know what I'm doing. I'm some kind of big cheese. So big cheese head. Hey, so I can't hold your hand. There's a baby league for that, and I take the piss out of people that are in the baby league. Do you want to be moved to that?
No, I'm fine. It's okay.
I think what my dad brought up. I've been to see my dad today, so he brought up he was baffled at why people have got 3 tight ends in their teams and why people have got 3 quarterbacks in their teams.
Yeah, it seems a bit ridiculous to me.
What's going on? Who are they? Who's done it? Is it Johnny? It's got to be Johnny, hasn't it?
Got to be Johnny. It can't be anyone else. He's probably got 3 tight ends and 3 quarterbacks. You can only play in our league. You can only play 1 tight end. They can't be put in the flex option like in some leagues. So 2 tight ends at max, maybe 1 strong one, and then bring someone in for bye week. Would be the option. But there's some people in our league hogging them, and it's always been a thing for my dad for waiver wires, where it's he needs someone and he'll try and pick someone up, and people will pick people just to leave them on their bench. But I
and
never
you not really need them.
Loads of tight ends sat on their bench because, like you say, you only need one if you've got a decent one. You only need one as a backup.
Let's have a little look.
Running backs and wide receivers, so I've got plenty of flex options.
He's got Mark Andrews. He's got Dawson Knox and Dalton Schultz.
Why?
Johnny has.
Who's that?
Johnny.
You're right.
The Minshew Maniacs, the person that I think has been slagged off every single week so far, including Byron slamming him last week.
It's tradition, isn't it? Because how many times he's saccoed now?
Yeah, I mean, this was discussed last week. We heavily discussed at the end of the show what his punishment should be because we feel it's not enough him rolling around in that Bengals jersey.
A couple of years ago, when he sacked in the big league and the baby league, he was meant to get the James Conner kind of half-shaved mullet thing.
Yeah. I think he won. I think he survived one of them, so he managed to miss out on getting that. But yeah, it's some odd decisions. Okay, let's move on to some hard-hitting questions before we run out of time. Tinch, who are you most worried about in this league?
Already played him. It's done. Because it's the same every year. It's Dan and it's Shank. I'm always most worried about.
They're your bogey players, so you're not worried about playing Ben Gilbert.
I don't know. I'm hoping he gets some injuries, or that I get him on the Buccaneers bye week, which would be lovely.
You passed. Well, I think after we mentioned that on last week's show, I think someone came out and did the research for me, and I think their bye week's week 9, and I think my dad plays Ben week 9. So I play him this week, and
good luck.
I've pretty much thought, you know what, I'm 1-3 here. I need a miracle, I think, this week. Tampa are going up against New England. Maybe Tom Brady gets scared about playing Bill Belichick and doesn't come out of the changing room. Can't see that happening, but hey.
The Buccaneers hopefully will just fall off the horse a bit at some point, so have a few bad weeks.
Now, another one for you, Tinch. We've seen who you don't want to play. Obviously, You said you've got your bogey teams out of the way. Who do you think you've got cert wins against? Who are the players that you're like, that's definite win for me?
Definitely you, because your team is absolute wank.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. Who else have we got? I need to have a little look, actually.
I'm going to have a look what week I'm playing you, because I'm looking forward to that, because I think you've only beat me once.
I have loads of bye weeks that week. I'm playing to you and absolutely lose to you again.
I hope so, because it's on record now.
It is.
Andrew, your team is pretty rough at the moment. It's not.
I mean, you say rough. I've got some talented players in there, and we saw James Conner shine a bit more last week.
Jamie Smith doing really well for you.
I mean, if Kenny Golladay could step up to the ability that he had at the Lions, and I think Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton both went down with injuries. So I think he's going to have to step up playing this week. So
I think what you mean is a giant.
There's got to be at least a bit of PPR in there for him for catching the ball. Surely.
Dak Street boys, Matt. They're sitting at 0-3. Yeah, I think you said it last week. Matt's usually up there with everyone.
Yeah.
And he's not looking too strong this year, so I'm uncomfortable with that. Johnny,
Adam, now you're a bit more familiar with the league and some of the names in there, and you've listened to the show when you've not been on it. Is there anyone particularly you're worried about this year?
So I think the team that, and this is from the draft as well. I'm just trying to get the actual league standings up. There was, I think one of the teams that I thought was very good was Pirate Bay. So I think that's probably the one that is most, worrying about really when you're going up against them. I think they're going to be tough to beat. Who else have we got? Both me and Freddie really liked your dad's draft. We thought it was a really good draft.
It's a bit of a dark horse, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's one. He's 2-1, and to me, I think he's got a really good. Edwards-Helaire has not helped him out. That's the one that's let him down.
His fingers Helaire at the minute.
Yeah. So that's the one that he's. When you look at that, he's a bit short on running back, but I think he'll do well. Apart from that, not really. I mean, definitely not Freddie.
Here's the thing: if you beat Freddie this week, do you become the king of the franchise tag?
Well, I mean, some would argue I already am, but
love to know what Fred's got to say about that.
I mean, your wife's opinion of the show doesn't really matter, Adam. I mean, I can't see.
So, I think they're the two really. So yeah, I'm gonna go for your dad, and who was it that I said? Which one's Shank?
Pirate Bay team. Yeah. I said it week one as well. I say it every week at the minute. His team looks terrifying. I can't see many people doing it. He's like the Rams of this year in the real league.
Yeah.
I think that's where I see his team at. And Johnny's just replicating what the Jags are doing down at the bottom. Being a Jags fan, that must be tough. Being a Jags fan and
losing fantasy.
Your fantasy team being as good as the Jags. I mean,
has he ever been in the playoffs?
Yeah, he beat me in the playoffs one year. Yeah. It was one of my most embarrassing moments of my life. I think he scraped through right at the last day. And I think I finished second that year. So I played him in the first round of the playoffs, and he just destroyed me. There's nothing I could do. I think he scored 145 points. It was just one of them. But he didn't do it. I think the following week his team scored 85. So it was straight out. I think he lost to Byron, but
we all lost last year. So.
It's COVID affected us all. It was probably that year.
Well, that's why I lost the final last year. COVID,
Yeah, I forgot you were in the final. That's a bit of a novelty for you.
I would like to say actually, Byron about last week said his final was a walk in the park, and I quite specifically remember having a good few conversations with him on the day of the game. Lots of twitchy bum time from Byron. Didn't know if he was going to win or not, and was very, very surprised that he won when he woke up in the morning.
Yeah.
Just to set that little record straight.
I mean, it would have been the second year he would have been beaten in the final straight. So I'm sure there was a few worries there that he was just captain runner-up.
Yeah, well, being a Bills fan, it would have been very fitting.
Definitely. I'm not sure whether we should give some any more airtime to the teams. It's very close in our league at the moment. We have two teams that are 3-0 and two teams that are 0-3. The rest are 1-2, 2-1. I think this week's going to be a bit of decider. Measures the gaps, but it's competitive. It's good. have any of you had a chance to look at any of the waiver wire targets? Do you think anyone's made any good moves this week?
I've not actually looked, but I will look now.
I think Taylor Heineke could be a decent pickup.
I was about to say, probably better than having Trevor Lawrence on your team at the moment.
Yeah.
A little losing streak.
I saw Freddie picked up Hunter Renfro after he let Henry Ruggs go.
Hunter Renfro is a great pickup though for a little slot because he gets plenty of targets.
Yeah.
Good little point maker. Not big points, but definitely for receptions.
I mean, I've noticed that AJ Green's been picked up this week by the Dak Street boys. AJ Green was a player that I had my eye on a little bit last week because DeAndre Hopkins was struggling with a hip injury. And I thought, you know what, that's a like-for-like swap if it's going to happen. I ended up not doing it because I don't want to have two wide receivers from the same team in my team. I feel like that's counterproductive. But then he went and had the better game of the two of them. Do you see AJ Green, either of you, being fantasy value in that team that's got so many weapons and so many mouths to feed?
Deeper league than us, maybe. But I think maybe in our league, probably not much fantasy value, like you say, with all the other weapons going on.
Yeah, I think I quite like him. I think he looked decent, but I kind of agree. I don't see him getting enough points every week. I think he will. DeAndre Hopkins is the first read every time for Murray, and obviously the run game as well. So I think that's gonna slow him down. But I think he'll get points. I just don't think he'll get loads.
I think he's now going to be sharing points with Rondale Moore,
he's looked all right.
They're using him in the shorter game, in the dump offs and things like that, a little bit extra than just throwing it deep. So I really I was very tempted to pick up AJ Green, but the same reason, guys. Like I just couldn't really put any value into him with how many mouths there were to feed.
I think Josh Gordon's an interesting pickup. I've just seen that.
What, someone's actually picked him up?
Yeah, I think it's Dan who's picked him up.
Okay.
I mean, he was a brilliant player, but again, kind of same situation. There's a lot of weapons down in Kansas, and how long can he not smoke a joint for?
When did he last play?
Did he? Was it last year?
Doesn't he play every year at some point for a couple of games?
Around a week or two every year, and then he goes and smokes up, and then gets kicked out again.
But it's probably a good one to keep and have as a slow burner on your bench for weeks to come. I don't think there's particularly a lot of mouths to feed at Kansas. It's been a problem, I think, with them that their wide receiving core isn't strong enough past the tight end and Tyreek Hill. I think McCall Hardman and Robinson just haven't been that good enough wide receiver 2 option week in, week out. I think Josh Gordon could potentially fill that spot because he's not going to be marked as much with the amount of pressure that is on Hill and Kelsey. So I think that could be a good pickup for the future. I think he's going to take him a while to learn the playbook, the reads, get match fitness, because he's not going to be match fit. There's being fit off the field and being in the gym and running and things, but that's a whole different ballgame to being match fit. Tinch, you used to play for the Leicester Falcons. Forgot to mention that. We mentioned it for Byron last week. Tinch, you used to be on that Leicester Falcons team as well at cornerback.
That's a loose term being on the team. Probably 15 to 20 snaps for the season, maybe.
Hey, it's better than what me and Adam have had.
Well, you didn't try to, though.
A player that you got to meet, we'll briefly talk about this before we log off. You got to actually train and meet Deshaun Watson, didn't you?
Yes. Luckily, he didn't ask me for a massage. Do you know what? He was quite boring as well. He didn't really say a lot.
There's lots of talk that he might be potentially being traded to the Eagles. Has everyone else picked up on that? Have you read that news?
Not
apparently there's a bit of fuel behind that. I don't know whether that's going to happen next year or whether there's talks of it this year. I'm not sure. I just briefly read something about it, but coincided nicely with you meeting him.
Yes, I think it mainly depends to do with all his cases against him and what happens to him with that, which has been going on months now. Probably over half a year they've still been talking about it and not really done anything, have they?
No, I think it's going to go on for ages, isn't it? I mean, there's no reason for a team to trade for him yet.
No.
You know, the Eagles are actually doing relatively okay for the Eagles. So, you know, there's no real need for them to do
there's
it.
been a lot of positive talk about Jalen Hurts. I think a lot of people have been very complimentary. Even people that aren't Eagles fans have said, you know what, he's surprised a lot of people and playing well. I think we've hit a nice time. Then the half an hour mark is what we all like. I think it's a lovely time to sign off. We've ended on a good note. Best of luck in your week to come. I think none of you playing me, so best of luck. I think best of luck to Adam the most. I hate to say that because, you know, I don't want you to
if you lose, you will never hear
too much from me, but we like it when Freddie loses. Best of luck to you as well, Tinch. I know I always give you a bit of a bad rep, but I would like to see you prove me wrong, finish in the top half so I can stop saying you're a Sacco contender.
One season I've finished in the bottom half, so I think it might be that time now.
Good. But that's it for us, guys. The main show will be out very soon, so don't forget to log on. Find that on YouTube, on Facebook. There's lots more going on Instagram now, so if you just want to like hit up on Instagram, see the polls and things we've got going, little feeds, little videos and stuff like that. We're trying our best to get as much out for you guys to keep you entertained. Adam, you've got your gambling stuff coming up. What was your tip this week?
So for the Thursday night game tonight, we've got the Cincinnati Bengals to score in every quarter.
Oh, very nice. Like, what are the odds?
33-20. So not massive, but yeah.
Might be worth a fiver now you've told me it. So, you know, I might chuck some on that. But thank you very much, guys. And we'll see you all next week and the main show and everything like that. But till then, you know, catch up on the old shows, things like that. Thank you very much. Goodbye.